Dragon Rampant Part 3. Elves versus Lizardmen in an all-out fight. The Lady of the Wood versus Gorath the Cold. So it is the elf turn, and the greater war beast of the elves, the Goatman, for lack of a better name, attacks. So both units hit each other, but after we take into consideration armor, the Lizardman unit takes one casualty, and Goatman also takes a damage point, a strength point of damage. So we remove a turtle from the Lizardman unit, and of course the Goatman takes his damage point. And the casualties are mounting on the Lizardman army. Really a lot of casualties. And a courage test is failed by the remainder of the Lizardman unit that was just hit. And so they flee. And now we move on to the fairies. And the fairies pass their attack test. And so these are the resulting rolls. And so the Lizardman heavy unit loses one soldier to the fairy attack, and there is the casualty list mounting again, the casualty corner of the Lizardmen. But the fairies ended up losing two fairies to that past combat. So at least we have some fairy casualties growing. And the units are still fighting. They both passed their courage tests, so nobody runs away. Now the elf unit tests for movement, and they pass. Barely, but they pass. And the wolf unit ends up moving 6 inches up the stairs and into the ruined building. And don't know what they have planned here. I can only guess. It looks like the wolf unit is trying to go around and attack the Lizardman army from a flank. So there are the wolfmen. And the Lady of the Wood passes her movement order. And so she gives the order to move towards the right flank of the board, left flank of the board, rather. And there is the Lady of the Wood right there with her giant griffin to the left. The elves continue to take their turn. An attack order is given. It is passed. And the light infantry unit charges into the retreating light infantry unit of the Lizardmen. And the elves still have full strength, so they attack with 12 dice. And the defenders only get 6 dice because they're at half strength. Not only that, they're battered, so they can only hit on 6s. So the defenders do not get their hits. And so here is a view of the attack by the elves on the rear of the Serpent Lord's unit. And the Serpent Lord fails his courage test miserably. And this means he gets a 0 after we subtract all the penalties that this broken unit has. And so that means that the entire unit is routed. And so it counts as a casualty. And it's just terrible. I mean, we're pretty much going to call it. I mean, Lizardmen have lost a lot. And there is the fish people, the Piskins, we call them. And that is an victorious elf unit. So here is a situation on the right flank. The fairies are still holding their own, and nobody has retreated. Everybody's still fighting. And the Lady of the Wood watching victoriously the situation with the routed Serpent Lord. And then she has a unit of Wild Elves behind her. And the Lizardmen would just have to do too many hits to succeed. Here is the Wolfman unit preparing to ambush the Lizardmen. And so it really, it's a game that's gone terribly for the Lizardmen. The rolls have just been terrible. The dice gods have been against this army today. And here is a Wolfman female as she moves through the rocks of the ruined building. And folks, we're gonna call it that. This will be the end of the game, and the Lady of the Wood, Lady Lyanna of the Wood, is victorious. And there is the victorious Lady of the Wood again. Just a few words, post-game words. You know, the Lizardmen really had a hard time. This army was, I think, really good. I had mostly heavy support units. My opponent had light infantry units. But I think that whole mechanic of, you know, you lose your turn as soon as you miss an order. It sounds pretty brutal, but the reality of that mechanic is that it really does simulate the confusion in war, in battle, you know, and nothing's ever your turn, my turn. And so I like that mechanic, despite the fact that it really worked against me in this game. Unlike Advanced Song of Blades and Heroes, where if you fail 2 dice, your opponent has the option of taking the turn. Here in Dragon Rampant, you really do lose your turn. So, yeah, really tough game, but I had a lot of fun. Thank you, folks, and talk soon.